heaven and hell. The state of innocence of the angels in heaven. 2. 279. The same is true of everyone who is being regenerated. Regeneration, as regards the spiritual man, is rebirth. Man is first introduced into the innocence of childhood, which consists in knowing what is true and doing what is good from the Lord only and not from himself, and in desiring and seeking truth only because it is truth, and good only because it is good. As man advances in age, good and truth are given him by the Lord. At first he is led into a knowledge of them, then from knowledge into intelligence, and finally from intelligence into wisdom, always accompanied by innocence, which consists, as has been said, in his not being able to know anything of truth, or do anything of good from himself but only from the Lord. Without this faith and a perception of it no one can receive anything of heaven. Therein does the innocence of wisdom chiefly consist. 280. As innocence consists in being led by the Lord and not by self, so all who are in heaven are in innocence. For all who are there love to be led by the Lord, knowing that to lead themselves is to be led by the proprium, and the proprium consists in loving self. Also that he who loves himself does not suffer himself to be led by another. Therefore, so far as an angel is in innocence, he is in heaven, or to the same extent, in divine good and divine truth, for to be in these is to be in heaven. Consequently, the heavens are distinguished in accordance with this innocence. Those who are in the outermost or first heaven are in innocence of the first or outermost degree. Those who are in the middle or second heaven are in innocence of the second or middle degree, while those who are in the inmost or third heaven are in innocence of the third or inmost degree, and are therefore the various innocences of heaven. For more than all others they love to be led by the Lord as little children by their Father. For the same reason the divine truth that they hear immediately from the Lord or immediately through the word and preaching, they take directly into their will and do it, thus committing it to life. This is why their wisdom is so superior to that of the angels of the lower heavens. These angels of the inmost heaven, being such, are nearest to the Lord from whom they have innocence, and are so separated from the proprium that they live, as it were, in the Lord. In external form, they appear simple, and before the eyes of the angels of the lower heavens they seem as little children, that is, as very small and not very wise, although they are the wisest of the angels of heaven, for they know that they have nothing of wisdom from themselves, and that to acknowledge this is to be wise. What they know is as nothing compared to what they do not know, and they say that knowing, acknowledging, and perceiving this is the first step towards wisdom. These angels are naked, because nakedness corresponds to innocence. All in the inmost heaven are innocences. Therefore they appear to others like little children. They are also naked. Nakedness belongs to innocence. Spirits have a custom of exhibiting innocence by laying aside their garments and presenting themselves naked. 281. I have talked much with angels about innocence, and have been told that innocence is the being esse of all good, and that good is therefore good to the extent that it has innocence in it. Consequently that wisdom is wisdom to the extent that it partakes of innocence. The same is true of love, charity, and faith. Therefore, No one can enter heaven unless he has innocence. This is what is meant by the Lord when he says, "Suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of the heavens. Verily I say unto you, whoever shall not receive the kingdom of the heavens as a little child, he shall not enter into it." Mark 10:14, 15, Luke 18:16, 17. There is elsewhere in the word by little children is meant those who are innocent. The state of innocence is also described by the Lord in Matthew 6:25-34, but by correspondences only. Good is good so far as it has innocence in it, for the reason that all good is from the Lord, and innocence is a willingness to be led by the Lord. I have also been told that truth can be conjoined to good and good to truth only by means of innocence. So it is also that an angel is not an angel of heaven unless he has innocence in him. For heaven is not in anyone until truth is conjoined to good in him. Hence the conjunction of truth and good is called the heavenly marriage, and the heavenly marriage is heaven. Again, I have been told that love truly conjugal derives its existence from innocence, because it derives its existence from the conjunction of the good and truth in which are the two minds of husband and wife. This conjunction, when it descends, presents the appearance of conjugal love, for married partners are in mutual love, as their minds are. This is why in conjugal love there is a playfulness like that of childhood and innocence. Every good of law and truth of faith, to be good and true, must have innocence in it. Innocence is the essential of good and truth. No one is admitted into heaven unless he is something of innocence. Love truly conjugal is innocence. Conjugal love consists in willing what the other wills, thus mutually and reciprocally. They who are in conjugal love dwell together in the inmosts of life. There is a union of the two minds, and thus from love they are the one. Love truly conjugal derives its origin and essence from the marriage of good and truth. About angelic spirits who have a perception from the idea of the conjunction of good and truth whether anything of the conjugal exist. Conjugal love is wholly like the conjunction of good and truth. Therefore the word marriage means the marriage of good and truth, such as there is in heaven and such as there will be in the church. 282. Because innocence is the very being of good with the angels of heaven, it is evident that the divine good that goes forth from the Lord is innocence itself, for it is that good that flows into angels, and affects their inmosts, and disposes and fits them to receive all the good of heaven. It is the same with little children, whose interiors are not only formed by means of innocence flowing through them from the Lord, but also are continually being adapted and disposed to receive the good of celestial love, since the good of innocence acts from the inmost. For that good, as has been said, is the being of all good. From all this it can be confirmed that all innocence is from the Lord. Thus it is that in the word the Lord is called the lamp, for a lamp signifies innocence. Because innocence is the inmost in all the good of heaven, it so affects minds that when it is felt by anyone as when an angel of the inmost heaven approaches he seems to himself to be no longer his own master and is moved and, as it were, carried away by such a delight that no delight of the world seems to be anything in comparison with it. This I say from having perceived it. 283. All who are in the good of innocence are affected by innocence, and to the extent that anyone is in that good, to that extent he is affected. But those who are not in the good of innocence are not affected by innocence. For this reason, all who are in hell are wholly antagonistic to innocence. They do not know what innocence is. So antagonistic are they that so far as anyone is innocent they burn to do him mischief. Therefore they cannot bear to see little children. As soon as they see them, they are inflamed with a cruel desire to do them harm. From this it is clear that man's proprium, and therefore the love of self, is antagonistic to innocence. For all who are in hell are in their proprium, and therefore in the love of self. In the word lamb signifies innocence and its good. Man's proprium is loving self more than God, and the world more than heaven, and making one's neighbor of no account as compared with oneself. Thus it is the love of self and of the world. The evil are wholly antagonistic to innocence, even to the extent that they cannot endure its presence. Next, I will read The State of Peace in Heaven. 1. Thank you.